Never in the history of India something like this has been done 3 or 4 months before an election. When you look at those 11 documents, Saptarishi, you realize that there is no way more than 50% of Bihar can have any one of those documents. And that is my biggest problem with this whole exercise. So obviously I do not object to further scrutiny if election commission has any doubt about any particular area, any particular section, or even about the whole of Bihar. Please do one more summary revision. Absolutely, I have no problems. My problem is with the idea of rewriting the whole voters list afresh.
Hello and welcome to another week of Deshkal with Yogendra Yadav at the Indian Express. Yogendra ji, thank you once again for being with us here. Your latest article, this week's column, is on Bihar and the impending election and something very specifically called the SIR, Special Intensive Revision of the electoral roll. And the whole process seems to have sparked not just controversy, but quite some concern about sort of the disenfranchisement of voters or just the sheer, the magnitude of the process. Could you explain what this controversy is about?
Thanks, Aprushi. Yes, disenfranchisement is the most crucial word in that article. Now, this is a big word, a word that should be used with extreme caution. This is not a word to be bandied about. So you don't speak about disenfranchisement every now and then. And I'm against some casual way of talking about such important things. So yes, if we say this is disenfranchisement, then we should prove it. And that's what I'm saying here. I'm saying indeed that for the first time in the history of India, of the last 75 years of post-independence India, for the first time, we are going back to reducing the number of people on electoral rolls. For the first time, denial of voters, because for the last so many decades, the whole effort of our election system was how do we include more and more? How do we include sex workers? How do we include transgenders? How do we include beggars? How do we include homeless people? This is how election system was moving. And suddenly we have a move which actually would lead to disenfranchisement, which is to say loss of people's right to vote, and not for a tiny minority. In my estimate, if the rules are as they have been announced by the Election Commission, we are looking at no less than 2 crore people being disenfranchised. 2 crore is a huge number for Bihar, which should be about 8 crore people should be on their voters list. We are speaking of something staggering here. So no wonder there is a concern. No wonder there is a controversy. I mean, this is a tsunami. This is an upheaval. There should be concern about it.
But, sir, then sort of your critics or people on the other side of the aisle would say that is this not just sort of a periodical process of the updation of the electoral roll that the EC should be doing? What do you say to sort of a rebuttal like that?
Exactly. That's the impression all of us had when the thing was announced. I also thought that, all right, they're doing a little more intensive stuff than the usual one. But please remember now, and it's very important. So the onus is on me to prove that this is a disenfranchisement. Just follow. Number one, this is not a routine or even unusual, extraordinary revision of voters' list. This is a de novo writing of electoral rolls, which is to say, your name was there till yesterday, but now it doesn't matter. We are going to write electoral rolls afresh. And I'm making all these claims with seriousness. Never in the history of India something like this has been done 3 or 4 months before an election. Election Commission says, well, this happened 10 times. We checked that. Even in those times, 2003, that Election Commission talks about, please remember, this was at least 1 year before the general election. There was sufficient time. And number two, what happened in 2003 was exactly this, that enumerators, government officials went to each home. They had already a printed copy of electoral rolls with them. And there was a blank row beneath that to make any changes if they needed to make. So this was not altogether fresh rolls on the vote on a blank sheet. What is happening this time is the following. All the people in Bihar have been asked, every single person has been asked to file a fresh form. Whoever does not fill that form, no matter whether their name has been there for 50 years, no matter that it has been in 2003, their name will not figure even on the draft rolls. So, number one, it's a de novo exercise. Number two, for the first time in the history of India, and I believe this is completely unconstitutional, the onus has been shifted on the voter. We do not follow the American system. We follow the British system. In the American system, the onus is on the voter. Go and register yourself. If you don't, thank you very much. What can I do about it? In the British system, which we have followed, the onus is on the government official, on the electoral machinery to ensure that no one who is eligible is left behind. That, that presumption has been reversed now. The election commission officials' only responsibility is to give you a form. Now it's for you to fill the form, for you to arrange all the certificates. Otherwise, thank you very much, you don't feature. Number three, for the first time in the history of India, every single person is being asked to give a certificate, one proof or the other. The proof, in some cases, for about one-third people, can simply be, here is my name in 2003 list. In that case, you don't need to provide any other certificate. But for the remaining two-thirds, you have to give a certificate of your birth by way of various documents. Now, this is happening for the first time in the history of India. That is why it is not a routine exercise. And when you look at those 11 documents, Saptarishi, you realize that there is no way more than 50% of Bihar can have any one of those documents. And that is my biggest problem with this whole exercise. You go to anyone, speak to any ordinary person in Delhi, forget Bihar, ask them what certificate, you have to prove your identity. Which certificates do you have? They will talk about Aadhaar. They will talk about Election Commission's own EPIC card. They might talk about ration card. And in rural areas, they would talk about Manrega job card. Election Commission refuses to accept any one of these four and instead has come up with a list of 11, of which 3 are irrelevant in the case of Bihar. Other 3 are absolutely negligible. There are 4 which have a coverage of 2 to 5 to 7%, 16% in the case of caste certificate. And the only one which has had a fairly large coverage is your metric certificate. So for all practical purposes, metric certificate is what can get your name on the voters list. Now, if this is not disenfranchisement based on education, what else is the case?
So in that case, I think this is a good part to sort of pick up on the next question, which is right now it is just being done for Bihar, and we know Bihar is one of the most backward states in the country, low literacy levels, high poverty levels, which is why such a process which requires such a large swath of documents will be especially difficult for the citizens of Bihar. Do you think that these difficulties will be of sort of equal magnitude for the rest of India? As you just mentioned Delhi's case, but what about other states? Because I think this is a process that the Election Commission wants to do pan-India and not just Bihar. So is Bihar sort of
The
facing a
magnitude of
disproportionate
problem would
burden?
vary. The magnitude of problem would certainly vary. I was speaking to a Kerala member of parliament yesterday, and he was saying, in fact, he said that in the election commission yesterday, that even in Kerala, about 10% people would not be able to do it. Now, that's the ultimate example. Kerala, for me, is the final upper end of the thing in India in terms of literacy and so on. If about 10% people fail in Kerala to do this, what would be the case in the rest of the country? Yes, Bihar would be bad. I mean, the whole of East India, East and North India would be bad. The rest of the India would be slightly better. But remember, if it's even 10% in Bihar, my estimate is that about 50% people would be deprived of the chance, which is staggering, which is huge. And this may not be very different in the case of Jharkhand and Odisha and so on. But somewhere it could be 40%, somewhere it could be 20%. But mind you, in electoral rolls, If it's 1%, then it's a very serious cause for alarm. You do not have a rule. You must not have a rule which, in your knowledge, may exclude even 1%. As I said, Election Commission has been worried about beggars, has been worried about homeless people who sleep on the street. Now, their number is obviously not more than 1% in India. We have been worried. We have been saying, okay, how do we evolve procedures to ensure that they should be included? So in electoral rolls, you cannot even have 0.1% latitude. And here we are talking about 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Suppose I'm wrong. All right, my estimate of 50% is wrong. Let's say it's only 25%. Is that acceptable? Now, I see a lot of people on social media saying, well, people should have identity card. What's wrong in asking people? Sir, what is wrong is that the Indian state, which is responsible for giving identity papers to the people, has failed to do so. People are being asked to produce papers which they should have been given and were never given. So if I invite you to my building, and if I fail to give you identity proof, I fail to give you that key which you require to enter the building, and then I say, why did you not come on time? What am I doing? That's exactly what is being done. So please do not assume that everyone is someone who has a passport in his pocket. Please do not assume that in this country everyone has BA and MA degrees. Please look at the real world where a majority of people do not have even the 10th degree, in which case they do not have any of the documents that are being mentioned here. So, and I want you to prove it. I mean, I really want the entire media on this country to go and disprove me. Go to any village in Bihar. This is an open challenge. Go to any single village in Bihar. You choose the village of your preference and show me if 20% people are not there without any of these 11 documents.
Got it, sir. Got it. And I think on that note, just a few more questions. One is about sort of the fundamentals of this. Would you say that you are fundamentally against the process, which I don't think is the case, or about how it's being done, the rushed manner in which it's being done, because elections are just a few months away, half a year away. So what would you say? Like how would you describe the process in terms of its legitimacy, but on the other hand, the way it's being done and the rushed manner, the timeline?
Am I against pruning and very close scrutiny of electoral rolls? No, not at all. It should be done. That's actually the routine job. And most people forget that that's exactly what has been done in Bihar 5 months ago. Everyone is pretending as if Bihar's electoral rules have not been revised for the last 25 years. No, sir. They were revised in the month of December. About 6 lakh votes were added. I think less than 1 lakh were deleted, and the rolls were published, and there has been no significant complaint either from the government or ruling party or from the opposition. There have been no serious objections. So obviously I do not object to further scrutiny. If Election Commission has any doubt about any particular area, any particular section, or even about the whole of Bihar, please do one more summary revision. Absolutely, I have no problems. My problem is with the idea of rewriting the whole voters list afresh by junking the existing voters list, number one. Number two, my objection is to transferring the onus onto the voter. No, the onus must be on the officials, not on the voter. Number three, my objection is to demanding documentary proof of a kind that we know people do not have. This is ridiculous. How can you ever do that? And fourth, of course, my objection is to the rushed manner in which is being done in Bihar. That is completely, I mean, it's amazing. It's bizarre. Don't they know that this is monsoon time in Bihar? Don't they know that Bihar has flooding at this time? Don't they know that majority of districts of Bihar are about to get flooded? Don't they know that these things cannot be done in Bihar? Don't they know that when the caste census was done in Bihar, it took 5 months, and that when the caste census did not require any document from anyone? That when a similar exercise was done in Assam, where documents were demanded, it took 6 years. Which world do they live in?
And then, sir, just I think two questions to end it. The first one being on the election commission itself. Opposition, especially Rahul Gandhi, including like with an opinion article in the Express, they have been raising questions about the legitimacy of the Maharashtra elections and sort of the inability of the election commission to sort of properly address the grievances which the Congress and the opposition have been raising. Do you think this? In the context of Maharashtra, all of this is sort of exhibiting a complete lack of faith in the election commission, because had the election commission been a body which was sort of completely trustworthy, then I don't think these many concerns would arise. Is there a legitimacy problem here as well with the election commission?
Of course, and sadly, that is the case. If 10 years ago, Election Commission had done anything of this kind, if 20 years ago, Election Commission had done, and remember, 20 years ago, Election Commission had taken even a bigger decision than this, everyone would have simply said, well, Election Commission has decided, let's put a stop to it. The fact is that simply do not enjoy that reputation. The simple fact is that every single major decision of Election Commission happens to chime with what the BJP requirement is at that moment. There is what I've called, there's a strange jugalbandi between Election Commission and the BJP office. Now, I assume that they don't speak to each other on phone every day. They should not. But it so happens that their decisions are in perfect alignment in jugalbandi. And of course, people note it, people can smell it, they can see it. So not to put to fine a point on it, Election Commission is losing its legitimacy rapidly, and this is captured by surveys. CSDS Lokniti survey demonstrates such a steep decline in the accept. Earlier, when we used to do surveys, after the Army of India, Election Commission of India was one of the highest trusted institutions in India. It is today down in dumps. So yes, that's a fact. And funnily, the election commission, the chief election commissioner yesterday invoked Maharashtra election when a delegation of opposition MPs leaders went to see him. So why did you do that in Bihar? He said, because you people protested on Maharashtra. What a lovely argument. I go to a doctor and I say, sir, I have a throat pain. And he does a surgery of my friend's leg. And when I say, why did you do surgery on my brother? He said, didn't you complain about your health? I mean, this is the ridiculous nature of it. The problem, there were problems with with Maharashtra's electoral rolls. Yes, if the election commission thought that there could be similar complaints about Bihar's electoral rolls, election commission could have ordered a special summary revision, which is to say, review the existing list once again, go through that with a tooth comb, do it. What is the need to rewrite it again? What is the need to demand certificates? What is the need to put the onus on ordinary people when you know that half of them cannot beat it?
Thank you, Yogendra sir. And just one last question, which is about the conclusion of your article. And if our viewers haven't read it by now, they really should, because then this video will make sort of even more sense and meaning. You concluded your piece by saying that you hinted at the possibility that this process might be scrapped just because of the impracticality of it. Could you elaborate more on that? Where do you see this going in the next few weeks?
I don't know if it will be scrapped. I'm saying there are only three possible consequences. One consequence is that election commission goes ahead, blindfolded, like a steamroller, completes this without any change, in which case more than 2 crore people would be thrown out. The second possibility is that election commission does exactly what happened during demonetization. Every second day, a new circular. Now we are allowing this. Now that particular certificate would be allowed, which they have already done, incidentally. On 30th of June, they have already made the first amendment without calling it an amendment. In a press release, they have amended the rules. So that drama can unfold, in which case things can get easier and somewhat messier. And the third possibility is that the election commission would say at the end of 25th July, sorry, only 5 crore people have submitted certificates. We give them 3 more weeks, in which case everything gets staggered, in which case we can't hold the election in November. That's another possibility. We don't know which one would happen, but all three possibilities are bad for democracy, bad for our country, bad for Bihar.
Thank you, Yogendra ji, so much for such a detailed deconstruction and explanation of the whole issue. I'm sure this is an issue that will sort of recur in your following Deshkal pieces that appear in the pages on Tuesdays of the Indian Express usually. Thank you so much for your time. And again, readers, those who haven't read his piece, please go to the Indian Express and read the piece, and do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Thank you, and till next week.